Want to rise above what holds you back? These are the stories of those fighting that battle. It might also be the story of you. I'm Dan Waldschmidt, author of Edgy Conversations and strategist of billion-dollar companies all over the world. This is Mark Minard, author of The Story of You, the guy who knows a thing or two about never giving up. You're listening to Elevating Beyond. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Elevating Beyond with a two-word mission statement: change lives. And I am here actually in my office at Dreamshine. So I'm bending down away from the mic. And this is going to be awesome. We're getting ready to bring some people in live on Zoom for a special episode. I'm just doing a live Q&A. And all of you listeners, watch out for these. I'll be posting them on the spot, allowing people to join. We're just going to talk about back and forth, dealing with our businesses, what I've been doing, how we've been strategizing through this, leadership and motivation in a real way, strategy, and how together we've been dealing with the times and how we can get wisdom from each other. And I just want to have some great discussions with people and give some value. So here we go. Record. All right, we're recording, Chanel. So 3 million people are going to see this. Do you like that? I told you that ahead of time. And
hey, you
I'm
know how
gonna
it
eat
is.
a cucumber as Elevating Beyond, as professional as it gets. But no, for real. This is so many people, and I know Chanel, we've talked, and I'll explain to Corey too. Obviously, the craziness of the times, but I've had, with dealing with my own company, then on top of that, I have had so many people reaching out to me. I haven't even been able to respond about how to lead through this, questions about business, and I'm just like, I just want to have a good conversation. I know, Chanel, I think this is, you have to get ready to rush off to the bank. I think that's a perfect example to share with people as a business owner, in dealing with, because people are like, oh, just, get that SBA loan for your company and it will cover. And I'm like, yeah, I put in, literally, I started applying for it 4 weeks ago, the first time. And then the system crashed. I did all the stuff, taxes, because I went through the recession from having a business. And I know from what the government says versus by the time it gets to actually what does or doesn't ever happen. So I'm like, I'm just going to if you're not like relentless and persistent, like as hell throughout all this, like you won't, there's just no other way to keep doing it. Like, especially when we've built them from the ground up. And I know, like, Chanel, we had your whole backstory we shared on other shows and stuff too. And then even like when you're even doing everything the right way, then you're getting different answers. Then you're reapplying. You've gone through all the different banks. And with you have your gem, and you expanded. I know you went and got your location expanded, which is awesome. It was growing, like it was booming. Obviously, you had to get way more expenses for all that. And then this freaking thing hits. I know you're doing some stuff virtually and adapting and innovating, but obviously that can't be bringing in the revenue. So you've had to pretty much temporarily have you had to lay off your whole team pretty much for now?
Well, so I don't have a gym. I have a wellness center. So we have a blend of essential and non-essential.
Let's just edit it in that I said she had a wellness. Pretend I said she had a wellness center.
We do have a gym inside of the center. We do have a private studio. So we're really boutique, even though we're about, 3,000 square feet. So we have a blend of both contractors medically and then also employees. So not only were we having people go out for maternity leave, but we've also lost staff in this time. So because we're service-based, it's extremely challenging having about half of our staff between maternity and layoffs. or just cutting back on hours. So we're about half of our man or woman power that we were trying to operate, and it's challenging.
But a lot of your services were, I know you have a huge online presence, but like a lot of your actual services are done in the physical location, right?
Yeah, so that's like a whole other conversation that I think a lot of people aren't having about small business owners that are physical services having to now go to an online platform, not just the cost of that, but the transition, the consumer education, getting everybody set up that way, especially for like health services. I know doctors have even really doing their telemedicine have had challenges. I know doctors that have had challenges with that. So how do you get a physical location now into an online space? It's like building a whole new business.
Temporarily.
It really is. Temporarily.
I hate when they say it's the new normal. No, it's not. It's the temporary new normal. If there's anyone that believes this is going to be the way we're going to live the rest of our lives, I would rather die than live in a world like that. I get that we're saving people and I'm all for that, but I hate when they're like, it's the new normal forever. Yeah, we're all going to stay in our freaking houses forever and never have it. That's not, no, it's not. This is a temporary new, but it's been hard. I mean, it's been my own doctor told me if he wasn't owned, his company, his practice, he has with two other doctors, but it's owned by a huge business. I never even knew that. That owns like a franchise, I guess, of doctors' offices. He said they would have been bankrupt by now. He said it used to be privately owned between him and his wife. He said not only would they had to have laid everyone off, the way the whatever, which I had an appointment and it was a total unhealthy joke. They're like, did you take your blood pressure? Did you what? No. Did you tell me? Did you do your height? So like, if I had something that I could be having a heart attack, there's just so much. This is crazy. And I understand. I'm all for saving lives. Don't send me 20,000 emails saying but it's not resuming. Like there's other options. It's not only caring about the economy. Oh, you just want everyone to die. I don't want anyone to die. I also don't want to see the whole world collapse in on itself and the effects of what's going to be happening with that and the ripple effect that will be way worse and how we're all like navigating through this. And then Corey, you work for your company that you work for is quite a bit. It's quite a bit bigger, right? And you're like a lot on commissions. And do you have like a sales team too?
Well, the team itself is pretty small. There's only 5 of us in the office. Typically, we go into the office every day. Obviously, now we're all working remote, which is easy enough for us to do. It is as long as you have that drive, obviously, to actually get your stuff done. We've got 3 kids that are running around being homeschooled right now as well, which is a challenge within itself. But working remotely is easy enough to do with what I do. So I recruit, and it's mostly on the oil and gas side, which obviously has come to a screeching halt.
That's what I was going to ask. How's that being affected with a? It's so cool. It's awesome having there's such a variety. Doesn't matter what you're in, how these things are being affected. And by the way, everyone, Corey, I've known him since we used to live next to each other in the neighborhood in Colorado. So all my old stories of getting in trouble and almost dying and like he was with me for a lot of that. And
yeah, the cause of a lot of
that. We both turned out all right. Somewhat. I mean, but
we're here.
Yes. But
no, as far as
what's going on with the natural gas? Well, like, what about your actual is that being affected the same as gas to where what I heard that's almost going to like negative a barrel? I don't even know how that's possible, but
yeah, I mean, prices went from $80 a barrel to down sub 30, which is kind of a grinding halt. Nobody's pumping anymore right now. So That whole industry is kind of stopped. All of those roles that we had there, which was plentiful at the time, zero right now. So we've switched gears, and we're talking to more of our medical device clients, healthcare industry, teledoc, and telemedicine is a huge one right now. The nursing industry, obviously, there's nurses that need to be out there as well. So yeah, switching gears.
So what do you mean? Wait, so are you guys, by doing that, are you like providing the technology?
Yeah, sorry. No, so what we do is we recruit any company.
Who is this guy? Natural gas technology? Jeez.
Anybody that needs
get Chanel and I that SBA loan?
Employees. I can use some of that too. But any of those companies out there that need employees, anybody that is looking to hire right now, which has gone from a really good economy to it's a lot smaller now as far as the clientele goes, especially with the amount of unemployed out there and it's growing every day. So our need is a lot less. But yeah, any company out there that is looking to hire, struggling to fill roles, they'll call us. And we'll fill the candidates. We'll find the people for them. But right now, so many people are out there looking for jobs themselves that it's obviously our job is a little less important as well.
Is there certain things that you like focus on? Do you guys focus on placement in certain industries more than others, like that you specialize in?
Yeah, oil and gas manufacturing was a big one. Oil and gas stopped manufacturing. I think the good thing that's going to come out of this whole coronavirus thing is the manufacturing that's done overseas. We're gonna bring a lot more of that back to the U.S. So I think the manufacturing industry will boom a little bit. I mean, when you've got 95% of all your pharmaceuticals being produced in China, and China's not real happy with us right now anyway. So. We're relying on them for masks and surgical gloves, all that PPE equipment that our nurses and doctors need. I have a feeling that a lot of that will be brought. There you go. A lot of that will be brought back to the U.S.
Yeah, because I'm at the office here because my staff work directly with our individuals with special needs, and the state, the governor, they couldn't provide us. They kept writing me it would be available. I had to completely figure out a way to find it on my own. And they're on the front lines with our clients every day. And then the prices were all crazy, jacked up. One of our staff was awesome, has a sewing machine and got innovative and made some like that we were using temporarily. But it's just been, man, it's been crazy to see, like, and with leadership, I know, like, what is, I'm curious to hear. And then also Chanel, I know before you have to go, how much time do you have, Chanel?
I've got about 10 more minutes.
Okay. Cause Corey was going to ask some stuff about leadership, which was interesting. I want to hear. And then also from your standpoint too, Chanel, I know we talk about leadership all the time, and this is what I'm getting reached out more than ever. I can't keep preaching this. It's not just about being virtual, whatever. I keep saying, like, truly learning constantly the importance of growing and developing, like serving leadership and creating other leaders is literally what makes or breaks the long-term success of any business. And I've learned it from doing it I'm constantly learning. We talk about that all the time, screwing up, but it's such an important thing. And like, how are you, like, especially now, Chanel, what are some things that you've been doing when it's like, I mean, you're a lot, like you're just trying, a lot of it's like your business is like the ship. You're literally trying to keep it from not sinking, and we'll go down with it. I get it. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, over my dead body is what I keep saying, because it's like our baby. But like, how are you motivating other people on your team and stuff, or as your, you know what I mean? Like, we have the doubts, and so we're like, I don't even know how I'm going to make it through this day. What are some tips that you have, like, to other business owners and stuff like it. And you don't even have to be, you know, a leader like in any position that Corey's in, where he has people that are on his team, you know, to try to not be like cheesy motivational, but doing something to give some type of like connection, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll say this, we've built from the ground up. We opened our new location in June, and I'll say I have an amazing team and such a good culture. Organically, we have grown, and I've been patient, and the team has been patient and organically growing. And so we have a solid foundation and great people on the team. So that's like the first thing that's carrying us through this. The next thing is just transparency. Yeah.
With that real quick, Chanel, because it can sound, can I let everyone know that has been built up intentionally over, because it doesn't happen over. So when people are like, well,
no,
what am I doing wrong? Can I change it in a week? It's like, no, but you can start changing it now, but you've done that over years.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Literally.
been 8 years, and we just expanded to this new location last June, and I expanded the team and we expanded our offerings. And so part of it is, you know, from the standpoint of wellness, living well, personal development, community, and wellness is our standpoint. So I've always believed in healing and wellness for my own life to take care of me in order to take care of the team, which I will say is a huge struggle and goes back to your question of how do we get through this in this time? You know, how do we motivate other people? I think part of it is sticking to our values and being transparent, upholding our standards, but realizing it's not going to be perfect, but also filtering that out into those honest conversations with both the team and all of our members and clients. Hosting those meetings, which we just did this last Saturday, to say, hey, look, the reality is in the first 2 weeks, we let 70% of our contracts out of their contract.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
However, that was about
nice
70% of our, you know, it was a huge hit. So having those conversations with my team to say, hey, look, business is about people. Here, we take care of people and we care about relationships. So how can we all come together? What can we all give and contribute a little bit more of? And what do we all need? With my team, that's what I've done. And everyone's been giving a little bit more, even having to scale back a little bit, knowing that it's temporary, but not knowing how temporary. And same thing, you know, with the PPE or the PPP loans and the SBA loans, kind of telling the team, hey, once we get these, I'll be able to bring you back on more, and having no idea when that's going to take place. It's hard to keep people motivated, but it is possible if you have the right people. So,
sounds like it's important, and this might even help answer some of your stuff, Corey, because I know from years, and we've talked for years, because 13, I can't believe it's going to be 14 years for Dreamshine, and 8 years for you. You're almost about to hit the 10-year mark. That's amazing. Of like the transparency part isn't like there's a lot of weight that you have to carry that you don't need to dump that on everyone, because they where much is given, much is required, but also to open up doesn't make you look weak like the old school people think. It's really when you're doing it at a level of people respect that more, versus always if you were totally fake and like we're going to get through it, and you have this like passive aggressive smile, and there's no, I don't ever feel fear, and there's when you're just like, look, like we're all grown-ups, like this sucks, we're given 70% of the contracts back because we're like, we believe in the golden rule. We're doing what we're trying to do our best to do what's right. I don't know 100% if I'm trying my best. Like, I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't know but I'm working like my ass off through this. Like,
Yeah. And
beep that out, editor, whatever, when we hear it. Just beep. I usually keep it PG-13 a little bit. But no, but really, they see you working your butt off though. And it's like, that's what I'm telling my team. I'm like, I'm doing hundreds of hours a week just on this set. Like, I don't know it, but I promise you it won't be for lack of me not putting in the effort. And like, and that's what I'm telling everyone too. I'm like, everyone has different family situations. We have some working with like we have to innovate. I'm like, we all have to be problem solvers. And I figure out a way to like connect us all. We're like on an all group WhatsApp, but I had started that years ago with my team before even all this started, ways for us to be connected. And so a lot of that has helped later on, but that transparency piece. And I teach my other leader, like I always hear, it's like, when in doubt, don't under communicate, especially in times of crisis. Over communicate versus under communicate. I'd rather say too much than too little, because whatever you leave out, people are just going to start guessing and they're going to go to the worst case scenario. And honestly, sometimes just saying it out loud, even though it's scary, it's out there on the table and it's not the end of the world. It's said, and we're not just, okay, like that's what we're facing right now. So now what?
From the consumer standpoint, I mean, we exist to serve our clients, to help them live well in all kinds of modalities. And so the transparency is not poor me. It is this is what's going on. And here's how we're doing our best to adapt so that we can gather that feedback from the team, from the clients. And then we can say, okay, we're getting new information on a daily and a weekly basis. This is what we're going to pilot this week. This is how we're going to test it out. And then asking for that support. We're going to need your grace. This isn't going to be perfect. We're working, hundreds of hours, but we need your feedback and it's okay to give it. So I've had that, virtual conversation to say, you can call me at any time. Here's how you can message me each week. I like your feedback. And I've told my team the same thing, what is working for you? I don't want you working for free. So I only want you giving above and beyond as much as you feel that you can and are willing happily to at the time for the sake of the village. But I don't want anything for free from you. What I want is to ensure that you have a job to come back to whenever we open back up. So I think more the transparency piece for me is helping people understand and finding that understanding and getting that feedback so we can create solutions together. Because and I'm sure Corey knows too, when you're working a bunch of hours, your head is on the task in front of you. And it's easy. We have teams so that they can help us find the solutions. We can't do it by ourselves.
Absolutely.
And so helping them know that they're an asset and we brought them on for a reason is really important. And I think all business owners should be leveraging their teams right now.
Yes. The best thing, I know. That's what, and Corey, before Chanel has to jump off too, I wanted to see if you had any questions, because she's been doing this for years also and has tons of wisdom. But yeah, that authenticity, that transparency, and just, using freaking people. I had people on my team that are way smarter than me, and you drop your ego. Great. I love it. It's not like I'm the owner. I should be the smart. Who you can do that better. Awesome. Thank you. Please. Because it's about like the ship as a whole. We all have to make it better and keep like getting through this. So yeah, go Corey. Do you have anything for Chanel? Because I know she has to.
Well, first of all, what she said, Chanel, you hit it on the head as far as, and Mark, you too, being very open and being having more communication rather than less. The owner of our company is strong. He does that very well. He's honest about it as well. So he lays it out there on the table. Says, "Hey, listen, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I do know that you're working as hard as you can. We're all working, and we have a great team as well. So cool. Everybody's just picking up the phone on a daily basis. We're double timing it. We're grinding it out." And I know because of my team, it makes me feel better that I've got others to lean on as well, because I know they're working as hard, if not harder than I am. And together we'll find those clients out there that are still looking and hiring. So that helps me sleep a little bit better at night. As far as questions, yeah, I've got a few of them here.
Hey, can I ask you real quick? Yeah, actually, no. Ask Chanel why she's still here before.
Yeah, I can. Let's see. I think you guys are 2 hours ahead of me. I've got a total max of 7 minutes, and then I'll click off. So I can hang with you guys for about 7 minutes, and then I'll click it off.
Okay, and she's needing to go to the whole I get it. The SBA thing. They're asking for, you do it, you give them 1 billion documents. I know, and then nope, we need 1,000 more this way. So I get it. You need to have them all in. It's a huge priority. So yeah, go ahead, Corey. Yeah,
and I really don't have too many questions. I just the whole reason I reached out to Mark in the first place was, hey, I want somebody to help me stay motivated. It's really it's trying right now when you're working twice as hard and getting 10% of what you were getting before. So my whole purpose in reaching out to Mark is, hey, I've got a list of things I want to do. I want to make sure that I'm staying motivated, staying on task. Are you willing to help me be that person? Can you keep me on task? Can you motivate me to make sure that my family has food on the table at the end of the night? But we're not to that point yet, so I'm not too worried. But at the same time, if this thing drags on for as long as it can, it's going to start getting scary for a lot of people. So to be that rock for my family is something that I want to make sure I can do. And there's a lot of fear out there right now. What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next week? What am I going to do in a month? And so to have a plan, obviously, is important. To have somebody help you with that plan, to look at that plan, to say, hey, that's perfect. What about this? What about that? I think is also very important. So having somebody to keep your spirits up and to keep you on task, I think is huge right now. And that's something that we've had on my to-do list for a while, but it's kind of fallen to the wayside just because we were busy. We have 3 kids. We have sport activities. All of that stuff is gone now. So I guess one good thing out of this whole thing is I get to reconnect with a lot of the people that I haven't lately. So via virtually, but it's good in that respect. But at the same time, hey, things are going to get real quick if the economy doesn't open back up. So
right.
Let's
ripple effect.
Get it open. Yeah, let's get it open and
I know.
Keep it
and we're business owners talking about that. That's another thing is the leaders in our country are talking about not possibly being able to put food on the table. That's a scary conversation to have when you have the hardest working people. I think that's what's scary about it, because it's not about work ethic anymore. There's this whole other element of uncertainty. And I think that's kind of that dark cloud, at least for me, that's been kind of hanging over, is how much work do you put into what with the unknown of when are we going to reopen?
Yeah. And I know that's different for a lot of people because Mark, for example, I know he's a hard worker and you know what, I need to get something done. I'm going to work. I'm going to stay up late until it gets done. I don't know if that's going to cut it anymore. If it's all shut down, then there's only so much you can do. So obviously we're going to grind it out. We're going to keep working hard. We're going to do everything we possibly can and look for new avenues, things that are outside the box. But at the same time, having a support team is I think, very important.
That's it, man. I'm glad you said, yeah, we had, I think that's a huge key that people, man, you get so isolated no matter what. I think it's really important people are reaching out and not feeling like I'm being a burden like this more than ever, like be reaching out to people, business leadership, depression, whatever you're going through, like have some people to be able to reach out to. And I also, like, that's why I wanted to make time to do, I'm trying to think also, like, how can I've been so busy, but how can I try to help the most I can throughout this in any way possible too? Because like a time to try to connect. And sometimes it's, you sort of brought up a great point, Corey. It's not even like, here's a strategy, here's what, it's sometimes just knowing like we're afraid too. And like, we're going to get through this. And sometimes just like hearing someone else talk to you about that and like being able to just get it out of your own chest helps. I know it helps. Like that, remember Chanel, like back when that's why when I had the mastermind group I used to have originally, and this really makes me want to open that back up again, but I had members in it, and we had a monthly fee for it, but we'd meet like this, like once a week on Zoom, and it was like leaders, business owners, and we'd all were special, like had different specialties in areas, and we'd really help each other grow and develop in our business. But a huge other component of that was we'd share about just like personal it's all private, and people would just open up about stuff that they couldn't, share. It was really therapeutic in a lot of ways, because there's so much you can share like with your team and all that, but you don't want to bring too much of a burden on everyone. You want to be transparent, but there's certain things that you have to have other people kind of outside of your business and stuff that you can connect with and be able to even get some perspective on, or just be able to open and connect with, or like you mentioned too, Corey, like even hold you accountable. I have people like that like Bill Courtwright. Bill, if you're listening to this, he's had a lot of businesses for years, and he's like 58, and yeah, I'll go to him and he'll emphasize. And then at a point he'll be like, dude, if you don't have this by tomorrow, I'm just going to come punch you in the face because you're being an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You need to hear both ends of that sometimes, Chanel, before you need to jump off, you have any other words of wisdom from all that? I think you're muted. There we go.
Okay. There we go. It said you had the power to unmute me.
Oh yes. It's all about power.
Well, yeah. I mean, to Corey's point of just reaching out, Corey, I love what you said and how honest you are and just transparent about that, because I think at least I found myself in this situation too, where it's like, who do you reach out to and how do you stay motivated and accountable when you're taking on that burden for your team and really the first line of defense for others? And I think, I would be more than willing to meet weekly. And if you wanted to start something like that again, or Corey, you ever want to reach out or just chat too, if we wanted to get a little group together, I think it's a great idea. I know I need it too. So just having that relatability and remembering that we're not invincible and that we are human, and it's okay to be human. It's not a weakness. It's actually a strength, because the only way people can come in and help us or see from the outside in or a different perspective is if they see what's going on. And for me, that's mentally been extremely challenging the last couple of weeks to get to that point, letting the ego down and just being human in this time.
And just to get a little more specific on your industry, I think the good news and maybe the light at the end of the tunnel for you is this whole pandemic is, I think, really going to focus people on their health and wellness. So keep that in mind as well.
That's so true, though, Corey. I've been saying that. That's such a good point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, just there. I think for you, there's a light at the end of the tunnel and room for growth that way as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been extremely challenging, but I think that people are starting to wake up to health and wellness outside of diet culture, outside of body image, and really taking that personal ownership and personal development. I think this is an awesome time that we'll see a shift on more of a mass level. It's just being in the thick of it and navigating through the thick. Even if you know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it doesn't make it any less challenging when you're in it. So that support is so critical, and I'm glad you guys invited me on today.
Yeah, thank you, and let us know how it goes. Prayers to you for that SBI. I know you've been working hard on it. God, something has to come through, right?
Yeah, we'll have to do another chat about that, huh? Because I do hear a lot of people just say, "Oh, we'll just go apply for the loans," and that's not the answer.
Yeah, I know. I want to help. I really want to help them. And I'm not being morbid. I want to go for it, but my point is, if you're not willing to start and put hundreds of hours, you won't get it. But if you are, your chances of getting it will increase, much more likely. But if you're just waiting, even with the best intentions, for the government or anyone to solve all your problems, good luck with that, because they can mean well, but you have to keep taking that action. And that's what I'm saying with the SBA. And they're like, oh yeah, like keep doing everything literally possible until you see the freaking money in your account. You do not have the money. Don't start thinking that you do until you literally see it in the account. I've been at closings before that. I have a whole story about my house that we sold our house. We were moving into our new one. Then the day of closing, all this crap came up. I know you have to jump off, Chanel. And it took me going there to the bank and bringing my stuff. I even packed my lunch. I showed my realtor. I'm like, because they screwed up on their end. And I'm like, I'm not leaving here because there was so much involved. It's like 8 months of work till this is closed and gone through. He's like, we can work on it. And if it was to get postponed, we had sold our house. We're moving into this one the next day. We had our 5 kids. I'm like, I'm going to show up here with my 5 kids tomorrow. And you know how everyone's a vice president at a bank? This was an actual vice president of the bank. And I was just like, and my realtor's like, never, I'm going to use this as a story for someone next time they're making excuses for how they couldn't get a loan. But I'm just like, I don't know what else. Like, I had invested so much time and energy and ended up going through. But if you're not willing to like fight for it, like politely, relentlessly, and risk looking stupid, who cares, then that's what it takes. It really is. So I'll let you get going. I know you got to go, Chanel. Corey muted you again.
Nice meeting you.
You're unmuted now.
Am I unmuted? Okay. All right, fellas. It was so nice to chat with you. Corey, it was nice to meet you.
Absolutely. You too. Good luck.
All right. Take care. Stay healthy.
You too. Yeah, absolutely.
See you later, Chanel. So Corey, what are, it'd be good for people to hear too, just some stuff of like with kids and all that, what, just to even laugh. Are you like intentional to even try to just do, like, got to keep a sense of humor, I think, through this in ways too, or be intentional to watch something funny, or not the freaking 24-hour news. You'll lose your mind. Like,
yeah, no, if you can stay away from mainstream media and you know, I still find myself checking it out and wishing I had afterwards. But I think the kids are actually a godsend. They keep it real. You know, they don't. They're a lot more adaptive than we are as old fogies here. But they make me smile on a daily basis. I definitely have to find that time to spend with them, to hug on them, and let them tell their stories. And that's one thing that I find myself really needing to remind myself to do as well, is talk to them. Say, hey, you know, how you feeling? What's going on with you? You're stuck at home. They go out less than we do. I mean, we're locked tight, but they haven't gone anywhere. I mean, they have not left really the house other than going on a bike ride, or maybe sitting in the car while we drive around for 5-6 weeks now. So I want to make sure that I check in on them as well and make sure they're doing well. But like I said, they're adaptive. They roll with the punches a lot better than I do, for sure.
Well, that's the way it's been with ours too. Unless it's to the park or something, I have my client, everything we work with, and I even too at the store and all that, but we have them stay unless I think we've taken them to like drive through or something. But the youngest, who's like 5, if we're even going into the store, even if he has a mask or whatever, he's like, he'll be grabbing stuff and it's just not worth. But yeah, and then the girls in middle school, I one thing I can say that's good compared to like if this happened like when we were their age, like in middle school, Corey, you didn't have iPhones, you didn't have FaceTime, so they're able to virtually be hanging out with a lot of their friends and stuff, and they have like social media is not all negative. Like you look at that's given them ways to stay connected. Man, back in I don't even know, we'd probably be sneaking out. I know the internet came out, I think like our senior year or something, when it would call and it'd make that noise. And
yeah, well, the dial-up, that's right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that would be you have to call. You could like talk on the phone, but who knows? Yeah, we'd probably be not telling kids to do this. I'd probably be like sneaking out of the house and going to hang out with friends and getting yelled at by my parents and stuff. But I don't even know. Like, so at least that, and we didn't have Netflix and like they have all that on their phones. So at least there's a lot more entertainment, you can say. Gosh, yeah. And it's weird to think how many businesses are like Netflix and all that is probably having its highest revenue increase ever. I mean, and good for them. It's not like anyone wanted this to happen. It's just crazy how, like Zoom, we're on Zoom right now. I've used this platform for years, but I see people using it all over the place now that are home virtually. So I'm like, man, Zoom's definitely like banking well off this. It's weird. Again, no one wanted it to be this way or happen this way, but and then with the kids too, just being real with everyone at home, listening to all this, give yourself, what am I trying? Take time with them, but like, don't overjudge. Like I'm working here, I'm working at home. They're knocking on my thing, and I'm like, I'm in a meeting. Like, please leave me alone. Like, leave me alone. And then I'll come out and I'll tell them after, like, I'm working on a lot. You have to understand. If I'm seeming more stressed, there's a lot going on. It's going to be okay, but don't sit there and beat yourself up all day about like, oh, I lost my temper on my kid. I'm not talking about like beating your kid or something, but you know what I mean? Like, we're freaking human beings, and also we're working our butts off, and we're wanting to. This thing is weird, Corey. Like, I don't know why. I feel like I'm going crazy because I'm happy to say it. I want people to live, but there's a point where it starts to like, you start taking freaking food and stuff from my family. We have a problem. And I'm like, this is not, when they start saying like in the fall, if this reemerges, I'm like, your plan is not going to be to shut everything down again. Cause like we serve individuals with special needs. They need full physical assistance. Half the group homes are in, the staff have quit. They're being a bit neglected. It's like, you can't, there's a point where like the line has to be drawn. Like we have to make other options of how we're going to be dealing with this, or we have to start standing up at a point and saying, we're not okay with this as an option. Like, you're taking our food away. Like, I'm not saying to start a revolt or whatever, but you can't lay there and do. I pray for everyone. This thing's real. I don't want anyone to die. Like, I pray for everyone that's battling this. This thing's nasty. The flu's still killed more people worldwide this flu season. People get mad when you say that, but that is the statistics. However, they don't have everything in with this. And I know the stay home, I guarantee you that has stopped. And I believe people are making their best decision. I'm not going to sit here and judge the president. I can't even imagine. I don't care what. This isn't about politics. Having the weight of those decisions he's making, we haven't ever personally been in that situation. So I've tried to get better at, until I've done it, like to not try to just judge how I would, because I don't know exactly how I would try to get the facts the best I could and make the choices the best that I could. But there's a point with this whole thing when they start talking about like fall, and I'm like, this is not going to become like a new, because like every 4 years there's a swine flu, there's new virus. Like the plan isn't going to be on going to, let's have a time for that 2-month shutdown again. Like, no.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've never been one to rely on the government to help me out with anything. I think that's foolish and ignorant, to be honest with you.
It's not the way America was set up either.
That's right, and when something like this happens, though, you need that guidance. You need a plan. You need the people in those leadership roles to roll out a plan so everybody can kind of follow it.
Yes.
So we need a plan that everybody can get behind and everybody can follow to make sure that we don't have massive resurgence of this. At the same time, we can't just shut down the economy for the rest of the year. We need a plan to be rolled out that we can follow and get on track to start opening things back up. So people aren't rioting in the streets when there's 100 million people unemployed out there. So get things back on track. Let's have a plan. What is the plan? I want to hear the plan. I want to see it rolled out. I want to see it detailed. Give it to me, and we can follow it at that point. But if there is no plan and there just might be a shutdown, it might open back up. That's not going to work for a lot of people, and it's going to cause a lot of unease and a lot of tension. So let's all get together and figure it out and have some sort of leadership there.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're so. You're like, a lot of people are right. There's truth in what you said. There's truth in what I said. There's truth in what they're doing, but it's not only one truth is the only truth. And like you said, a plan, and there's never going to be perfect conditions. I pray there is a miracle. I mean, I know they're researching this harder than ever. There could be a cure that could come up. That, I guess, that would be like the magical thing that would happen. That would truly be a miracle if that happened like really fast. Or a vaccination that came really quick. I know they're working super hard, but in the meantime, there's not going to be a perfect. It's going to have to be starting to do this, a transition here and this. And like you said, Corey, like just to hear something like we're going to start transitioning this in and opening these up. Okay, we're not going to have NBA games that are going to have 20,000 people in the stands or whatever. We're going to limit it to, we're going to start by having every other section opener. I'm just making up a like every 10 seats or something, and we're going to have X amount, like restaurants. Okay, we won't fully open them, but we'll have it to where you can have that they have to be wearing their face masks and their thing, and we'll have X amount of tables opened at something. There's no perfect way to do it, but you have to do something versus nothing. The barbers and stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be risks no matter what you do. But to minimize those risks, to have an action plan where you're minimizing the risk as much as possible without destroying small businesses, without destroying families that don't have guaranteed income coming in, that don't have a savings net or a savings that can put them through a whole year. I mean, we've got to get because a stimulus plan with $1,200 checks it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cover rent. It's not going to cover food. So let's get people back to work and let's come up with a plan that we can minimize the risk and do just that.
Yeah, that is such a, at least they're trying, they're trying to do something, but yeah, that is so temporary. And it's funny because they were like, well, we'll stop the businesses. And then the governor here, they tried to stop all of the way we do our programs. A lot of them shut down, but I immediately got like these trailers and these modular buildings set up and ported so we would have less than 10 people per building, because I knew a lot of them didn't even have the staffing and stuff. And I had to start strategizing also for like a transitional plan coming back too. And a lot, they're just seeing one side and they're like, well, they'll have to back off on the bills, and they say all this stuff about like the health premiums, they'll be lenient. And the bills come I have to have, almost with benefits, I have to have 30,000 every other week just to meet payroll and health insurance. And they say, okay, you can lay some people off if you have to, and they can get some type of health insurance coverage. But then unemployment went up to like 13 million people in a week, and the whole system shut down. In most places you can't even, it's all delayed. So then I'm thinking, okay, if I was to delay them, that's where I'm like, if I do that, then they don't have health insurance on top of it, and there's this virus going on, and that's not even the threat. It's then they won't be covered for other things that they have too. I can't do that. So I'm like, I'm fighting for so many other things too, and those are things that aren't even talked about. And I wrote something. I'm in a panel and I'm in a board where the governor, like the head of the state of Medicaid that I work with here for Ohio, will come on and kind of discuss things and meets directly with the governor. But I try to write them directly, like they have these things and like the bills don't stop coming. They don't give a damn about the coronavirus. Like it auto deducts it out of our business account, out of our personal each time they're due. And very few, if any, have been like, oh, the corona, like our company health insurance. I just talked to my guy. I have a group policy. I pay 50% of all the premiums for everyone on my team and their families that are enrolled. It's going up again next month for the renewal. I'm like, oh, cool. And I was already have a meeting before this about how it was so expensive to have health insurance and other options of how to, and now it's like, cool. On top of this, it's going up. And okay, so now a bunch of people will be uninsured, or if you're on unemployment and then you're on the COBRA insurance or whatever, like these just, there's so many other details involved in these decisions that they think with well-meaning terms, even with like trying to give back with all these people being laid off. I already pay about 38,000 a year just in unemployment for my company, whatever that is per month. That's just the premium that I have to pay as being a business owner. I'm not complaining. It's just with even having like very little claims, it's going to end up making our premiums go way up because of all this. It may be a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. And I'm with you, Corey. Like something they took drastic action, and I believe like it was really severe and something had to be done. But it's like, man, May's coming, and I don't know why they're calling it the 30-day thing after it was already 15 before that. That's such politics. Just freaking say 45 days. If they add another month, it's not going to be 30 more days. Just no, that would be, what's 30 plus 30 plus 15? Where's my calculator?
And you said it right, Mark. I think it's going to come down to the smart business owners out there, the owners that find a way around their issues, their problems. Obviously, when it comes to outside bills, there's very little you can do. But bringing in trailers, bringing in spacing people out, it's going to have to come down to a lot of the masses, if you will. of people doing the smart thing and the right thing in order to be able to open up a little bit. And then if you've got some guidance and some kind of guide rules to follow on top of that, that's what's going to make things move a little bit smoother and a little bit quicker. Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. The bills don't stop coming, and I tried to call the mortgage company the other day. Been trying to call them for a week. You can't get a hold of anybody. You can't talk to anybody.
Due to the coronavirus, it's a 15-hour wait. Automated.
I would wait 15 hours. Mine doesn't even say that. It just says, hey, we're busy. Call back later. So it's frustrating, to say the least. There's only so much you can do when it comes to big corporations, but as far as small business owners, these owners that have to shut down shop, I think
there's 32 million small businesses, Corey, in the U.S. And they make up, it's something like 80% of the economy is made up of small businesses. Of like, people think it goes up to 500 employees, but still a majority of those are like 20 or 30 or less employees that make up like 80% literally of the economy.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be all those small business owners that are going to have to come together and as smaller communities start opening things back up. And, it's like I said, I'm not one to rely on the government to lay everything out for me and make it easy. If anything, they're going to be a roadblock. But it's going to have to be those small business owners that start opening things back up and, fighting for what they need in order to survive, which is their business. I think things are going to get a little bit hairy before they get unhairy, but it's going to have to start happening here pretty soon.
I'm with you. We'll keep making a way. That's some. The thing where it's going to get hairy, even when they open it back up, no one has even close to seen the ripple effect of what all these shutdowns. A lot of stuff hasn't caught up. Like, some companies could be thriving right now that aren't going to see the ripple effect of where these businesses that are going to go bankrupt in a month, where they're huge clients. Like, I have tons of other companies that do business off of me, that subcontract off of me, like that design our web pages, or people that like come in and like do our landscaping and places like that depend on other business. And that's just small examples that depend on other companies to hire other companies. The ripple effect of all that, even like with the gas and stuff that you're talking about, of what will, I'm not trying to make this like a doomsday thing. I'm just being like, the longer this keeps going on, people have no idea of like the ripple effect where they think, oh, this is going great. Like, I have a truck driving business and I deliver stuff, and right now they're off. Okay, cool. But when that manufacturing company is totally bankrupt and they have no deliveries and anything to deliver, and 99% of the companies can't even buy stuff from you anymore that were buying them because they went out of business or they had to totally cut that out of their budget, then you're not going to have a job anymore. And that's some of the facts that just people aren't even, they're just seeing. I mean, gosh, this whole thing's been a blur. It's been weird, Corey, because it's happened in like a freaking month period. Like, some days you wake up like, am I in the twilight? It's so weird because it's happened so fast. But one thing, we're resilient, and the whole freedom thing, it really makes me think a lot more how much I'm grateful for like the freedom that we have. And if this is a mild taste, I mean, this is for good causes of what like communism and socialism looks like, where a lot of other countries have it way worse. Right. Man, if there's something to be grateful for in America, it's like, geez, we have freedom to open or quit jobs or start companies or leave the house or put our kids in schools. You know what I mean?
And that's, Yeah, everybody says we're in this together. You hear that a lot, and I believe it. It's especially for the average Joe out there, the you and I's of the world. Uh, we'll come through it. We'll get through it, and it'll probably make some changes for the better. I know that there's no smog over Denver right now, which is kind of nice. But as small business owners and people that are hourly employees. It's going to get ugly, but to wrap it all up, I think America is. I mean, we're founded on the idea of freedom and being able to come through this. I think together is definitely going to happen, and it's going to make us better for it. It's going to be a struggle, but we'll get through it. We'll eventually this thing will go away.
Yeah. And like you said, Corey, I think that's a key, is really everyone to help work together. If you're growing in an area, then reach out to someone like my barber. I just surprised him and sent him, I said, do you have a Cash App? Because I know that my good friend owns, he started his own company. We had a temporary location when he opened his barber shop up for Dreamshine. Really cool idea he has too. Noble Baron, he made it old school, like a 1920s style, and they'll even do like the straight edge razor sometimes. But they're getting a lot of business. It was flourishing in a lot of ways. Saw him build it from the ground up. Obviously, he's been struggling big time with his shutdown. I know he is. And then the overhead of the rent. And I just texted him last night, like out of the blue, and I'm like, hey, do you have Cash App? He's like, oh, yeah, I meant to check on you, Mark. How are you doing? How's your business? And he's like, did you need to order like product for your hair or something? Because I'm like, just, do you have it? And he's like, well, yeah, and I was like, here. And I sent him $200. And I was like, man, I don't really have all this excess money right now, but I had enough to do that. And I just felt like I was thinking about him. I just felt, man, because we're able to do some services and stuff right now, and they're totally shut down. And it was just like and I wasn't planning to share this with you. I didn't do this to tell anyone. It was just like, he was so grateful, meant so much. And I believe he'll help someone else like when they need it. And I think like little things like that, you send someone $10 or whatever, or different times, we have to help each other through this crap.
Yeah, we'll order some food from your local restaurant and support local, and build out from there.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. And what about your team? What's something that you are struggling with needing the most accountability, you think, right now?
As far as my team?
As far as your team or you or?
Oh, accountability. Yeah.
And this isn't live or anything, so I don't have to. If you talk about something, you want me to edit it out or whatever.
No, you're good. There's no secrets here. I'm an open, boring book, but
no, you're not. I see your wife. See blood coming out of that back closet. I think you got your Elizabeth. I think you killed her. And the guilt's wearing out like what's that, Edgar Allan Poe? Where you're hearing the beating heart. The spousal domestic violence, I think, is just real quick off topic. I read a thing in China that they said like now they let people back out and the divorce rate skyrocketed. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said
I guarantee it is.
because they couldn't file during that for divorce. And then being locked together, like the first thing tons of them did was rush. That's funny. I also think I really believe a lot of people that struggle through this together, even when you fight and go through hell together as in a marriage, going through it together, like builds that foundation stronger too, as you get through it. And everyone listening, you will have fights. Everyone is it's a stressful time. So give each other a little grace there, and don't think of that as like permanently something must be wrong with my marriage or whatever because we're stressed and yelling. It's you're human beings, you know what I mean? But go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and there's no guys' night out right now, so it's you
Can't
can't get
watch
away
the
from it.
freaking what sports are there even? I was watching some old
That's right.
Jordan clips on YouTube. Actually, God, that was cool. I was like, man, who can I show this to right now? My middle school
Just watched
daughters, they don't care.
some old home run derbies with Ken Griffey the other day. It was in Coors Field, actually. It was
nice.
Great. Yeah,
Man,
well,
Ken Griffey.
yeah. No, it's no, so getting back to your question though, as far as accountability goes, it's. I heard a quote the other day. It came from Easter Sunday. Actually, I hate to admit this, but I don't get to preach very often. And the virtual Easter Sunday service was on, so we watched it as a family. And he had a quote which I think I've heard before, but if you continue on the path you are on, you will probably get there, or you probably get where you're going. That's basically what it boiled down to. And it got me to thinking, okay, what path am I on? 2 months ago, if you asked me, I'd be like, man, I'm on the right path. This is freaking awesome. I'm approaching it. And then life takes a turn, and you're like, okay, well, what path am I on now, and how do I get back to where I want to be, or how do I create a new path to that end goal? Where's my final destination? And I need to stay on course. And when you're grinding it out every day, and you're not seeing the results that you're used to seeing, and it's you're grinding, you're getting ground down on as well. You need to find those small victories, I think, in order to keep yourself going. And I need, you just need somebody to talk to sometimes. Hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm striving for. I'm struggling. This economy is crap right now, and it's hard to get where I'm going. So finding somebody that you can lean on, friends, family, outside business partners, whoever it is. I think it's fantastic to be able to, like you said, just show that vulnerability and to lean on somebody, talk to somebody, and figure out how to get your end goal and stay on course is really what I'm looking for. And I thought of you out of all people, so I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, you should help me out here, bud. You might be muted.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You good? I can hear you now.
I'm so used to having, when I do my shows now, people live in the studio, which has been weird. I miss that, but I used to do them like this too. I just like having real conversations. But yeah, and if anything should give people hope, I've always shared my crap from years ago, like to be given advice. You know what I mean? Like I remember just thinking, I'm never going to do anything with my life. I'm not the straight A student. I'm not, I thought it was all you were born, all this, how you're born. And, we live by each other, Corey. And like, my dad was, both of our parents, your dad was an entrepreneur too, had his company, worked his butt off. His dad's awesome, by the way. And, my dad too had his like private practice. And I remember thinking, like it must be, he was just like always, I thought he was just born smart, and I'll never be like that. But he was a hard worker. He worked really hard. And in some ways, something he told me, Corey, I'll never forget. I said, Dad, cause he's in his 80s now, man. He's yeah, him and my mom still hike all the time and everything. She's in her 70s. But he said one of his biggest, I'm like, what is one of your biggest regrets, Dad? I'll never forget this. It was just like a year ago. He told me he wished he would have cut the negative people out of his life sooner sooner or completely than he did, because he realized, like, and that's one of his biggest regrets. And I'm like, man, he said there's some like friends he just felt obligated to keep. They'd call him every day for like 20 years. And they just and like what you're saying, it's important to get around people that can hold you accountable in the right way, but like with love and respect, that aren't just going to like beat down your dreams, but also can check you like, dude, you're being an idiot here. Don't go spend 10,000 on lottery tickets right now when the economy's going under and that's all you're seeing. You know what I mean? But also when you have these crazy dreams, and you should always make them aim higher, make them bigger, challenge yourself more. That should be the type that are like, totally, like, go for it. You should. It shouldn't be like, you can't do that. Like and the people that constantly are like, this thing's real, this thing sucks. But you have people that constantly create problems when there is no problems, and they will suck the energy out of you. And I've learned to love, it can even be some family members. You can still love them at an arm's length. You don't have to totally, but you can gradually. And I've had some people that I'm really been connected with, and I'm like, look, I love you. Like, but if you're going to bring this up and this up, like, I'm happy to talk with you about movies or something or what, but if you're going to start bringing this crap up, like, I'm just going to hang up. I'm not doing it. And if you don't, and they kind of faded away. And I'm not saying to be a jerk, like, you're better, but I've realized, like my dad was saying, he's like, it's all about your energy, and you rather than people sucking it out of you, you need to be using that energy to like invest it. You could be like, even financially, it's not just about money, but you can get financially wealthy it magnifies more of who you are, good or bad. And you could even be using that. Like, I had that $200 because I had some say to help my barber out. If I was a billionaire, I would have just given him like $500,000. It will magnify more of who you, and so that, you're doing things for the right reasons, but you have to get more of those. I used to see people like that. They'd have their inner circle, and I used to think, well, they're like stuck up. Like Bill Gates hangs out with like, who's the other dude? Sometimes the owner of Nike. Actually, that's a great book to read. But it's what we're talking about. They have people that will challenge. It's not they're stuck up. They need people that they can relate to, that will challenge them to grow in those areas, and aren't just like negative leeches. And it's not even people, like we're saying, a lot of it sometimes is the habits of like, get the facts you need from the news and the media, but then turn it off. Some people, you can become addicted to that without even knowing you are. And it's like, I've learned so much, like how to keep guarding my mindset. I'll intentionally wake up and I'll listen to like motivational YouTube videos, and I would have made fun of myself 20 years ago. I'll just listen to it in my headphones while I'm getting ready and stuff. My wife's used to the news. She watches it. I'll just put my headphones in and listen to that. And I know my brain, and I'll start battling with like depression and all that crap. Like, I have to be really intentional to push myself to be positive, and like what I feed my brain and stuff, and the people you have around you and the people you freaking cut out is such a key. That's something else to think about too, is like, and you don't have to be a prick about it, but there could be some people like, okay, maybe you're talking to them once every 3 days. It can maybe start cutting to once a week, once every 2 weeks. I'm not talking about your spouse, by the way, Corey.
We read a lot of leadership books at work, and we discuss it, it's great. I love it.
That's cool.
If we did that in high school, I would have hated it. I really enjoy it now, and I would say 95% of those books all have that same key takeaway that you just mentioned. That's surround yourself with people that are better than you, that you want to be like. So my whole goal in life is just to be the lowest common denominator at all times. It's with the people I surround myself with, and yeah, I think it's very important. It's your teachers growing up probably used to always say this to you and I as well, and the people that look around, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, that's who you are. So I've got a really good group of friends now, and like you said, it's a pretty tight circle, and they're all they're all more successful than I am. They're all better looking than I am. They're they've
well, that's not hard to be, but
that's not hard to believe at all. It's a low bar for sure, but
just joking.
Yeah, I know you are. That's it's good. It's a good habit to form, and so sometimes sometimes I even we'll be in conversations with them. And I think, oh man, I don't belong in this conversation. I'm not smart enough to have this conversation, and that's a good feeling to have sometimes. Because you're surrounding yourself with the people you should be.
That, you know what? That's a good point to make. Our heads will try to talk. And also, Corey, I've learned too, to get to a point, you want to have people that are like mentoring you and you're in a group with, and then have a few people, because there's always levels. And so there's a lot of people that are wanting to get to the level where you are, and you have so much you can teach them. It's so much stuff that has become normal over time, is so much new wisdom to other people. So I always try to have a few people that I'm like mentoring, and then I try to have others like that I'm in groups, like you said, that are challenging me as well. Because when you have some people, and like that, some of that's your team and everything too, sometimes that helps hold me more accountable for like what I'm teaching them to do. I was like, oh crap, I was just telling them not to lose their temper and do this stupid thing, and I just did it an hour ago. So like put yourself in check too. Like, damn it, like I did exactly what I told you guys not to do. So I'm looking like an idiot now, and I want you guys, and I want to be accountable to you as a leader. And so that even helped, like when you're teaching and learning, to like be doing both sides of that really helps always kind of push you too. In that uncomfort, like those thoughts, everyone has those. I learned that from my show, man, especially when I talk off air to like, I had this dude, Donald Washington. I know you, them, full ride scholarship to Ohio State. I got to know him well, then went to the Kansas City Chiefs, got in the pros. His freaking vertical, dude, God, I'd have to have him. I don't want to make up what it is, but it's unbelievably, almost record-breakingly, insanely high. And again, who you're around, dude, he worked harder than anyone, but then he was getting all into pills and stuff and screwed it all up. And I think he ended up in jail, messed his career up. But now he's learned from it, and he's doing tons from it. But even when he was at the peak of all that, he opened up about his doubts and stuff. And because you would look at someone like that and think like, they must never have fear. They must never, you know what I mean? Like they just have it all. And he was like, dude, I would have like anxiety about even conversations I would have, or I think I wasn't smart enough to do. And like everyone kind of everyone, it never goes away is what I always tell people too. Like from everyone I've ever known, you just learn. It's like you practice at getting better at not like allowing that voice to be as noisy, or just continuing to take action while you're hearing it. Because I used to spend so much time dwelling with it and arguing with it. And the more you do that, you just sink like deeper and deeper. But it never totally goes away. And I think part of that is a good way. It keeps us like humble too. But I used to think falsely, like the people that you would look up to and admire, they must never feel that doubt and fear, or be in rooms with people and think like, I don't even, and almost everyone I've ever talked to, like owners of Fortune 500. One dude I'm talking to now, that's the CFO of, I can't say it out of confidentiality. If I said it, it's not Nike, but it's a similar place. It was crazy what he's battling with his personal doubts and stuff, and how far he's come. And we were talking, he's getting advice from me, and I'm like, what the heck? We got off the phone, and then I didn't even have time to be nervous, Corey. I think if I would have thought about it ahead of time, but I was just talking with him, and when we got done, I was like, what the heck? Did I just spend 45 minutes giving this guy? He actually wanted advice, and he was struggling from like fear and doubt. And the more I thought about it, then I was like getting nervous, like, man, who am I to be helping this dude that runs this multiple Fortune like 50 companies and stuff? But I just was going in the, it's just his doubts were, he was just doing something different that he hadn't done, and was going through the regular doubts that we all go through, because it was a new level of out of his comfort zone. And I had to remind him, like, you started from nothing, and that like grit that got you to be the CFO of two, if I name both the companies, they're worldwide companies that everyone in the world would hear of, and the CFO of them. And I'm like, what got you there is exactly the same thing that is you need to apply here. And he's like, oh yeah, just worked my butt. Like, it was grit. I worked my butt off. I persevered. I pushed through it. Like everything we're talking about, it's the same. It's the people that try to give you that magic, like 30 days to success or whatever crap, that it's just not real. It's not true. But if you keep doing it, I love how you guys are reading leaders. I think that makes a great example of like the owner of your company, or I don't know if he initiated that or you did, but I think that speaks in an awesome way of the values and the culture that is being created there. Because some people look at that, they're idiots as business owners, and they're like, what's the ROI of the time I'm wasting on that? I'm like, man, like real leaders don't just make better workers, they make better freaking people. Yeah. And that's a game changer.
Yeah, and it also creates motivation. It continues that motivation. It keeps you focused on your goals. It makes you recheck your goals. You're constantly they're constantly on your mind. So instead of just reading something, writing it down and then forgetting about it, it's continuous. So and that's one thing that if you're not continually checking your goals, working towards your goals, then your goals just become dreams. I mean, it's if you're not working on it, you're not thinking about it. It's just a purple unicorn over the rainbow at that point. Right. And what you said is absolutely true. Everybody has insecurities. That's whether it's public speaking or whether it's whatever it is. Everybody has insecurities, and I think one thing about getting older is that's good. The one thing that is better about getting older is you find yourself working on those insecurities and beating those down versus letting them beat you down. So it's always interesting to challenge yourself, kind of play those games with yourself. That's the way I do it anyway. Everything's a game, and I'm playing against myself most of the times, and I want to win. I enjoy winning. So if I can beat myself, I know I'm on the right track. So that's a good point.
I think that's a good point too. The one, it's not a bet. This freaking everyone gets a drive. We're supposed to be driven. And the reason like the whole communistic socialism society stuff don't work is because there's people that work their butt off and put like, and do what makes you happy, by the way, too. Like, I don't tell everyone you have to be a million. That doesn't, some people don't want to do that, and they have other value, but they're happy. Like, that's what's important. Like Bill Gates, again, for example, works, relentless hours, or everyone. And I know some people that my good friend was mentored by Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, and great dude, but only had a 5th grade education, and his daughter never, he did what he thought was best, and he created this thing and gave his family everything, the wealth, but his daughter never knew him. And she has like this kind of hole in her heart. You got to pick a point in time to get over that and move on. I believe too. It doesn't make it easy, but you don't have to choose to like just give your family up or whatever to be successful, or maybe to be at that whole level where he was at. That's what he had to do to get there. I don't know, because I haven't been at the level of creating Wendy's where I have 50,000 restaurants everywhere. But I wouldn't be happy not having a relationship with my daughter. That wouldn't be worth it to me to have 50,000. So, what works for one person doesn't mean it's what needs to work for you. Like, do what makes you happy, but also the whole socialism thing of like, everyone should equally be distributed. This, like, that's bull crap. That will lead to depression. Like, humans are made really to have some type of drive, and it makes sense. You work your butt off more than anyone else in the area, and you get some type of reward for it that you earn. And like, there's something about that you feel good. Like, I earned this. Like, studying Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. My God, dude. Have you read that book by Tim Grover?
Yeah, I've read both of them.
What's his? I wrote him about Tim. You're gonna be on my show, man. I've been messaging him. He's awesome. But dude, he's like, Michael Jordan was the best player and practiced and trained harder than any other player. So he's like, same with Kobe Bryant. Same with, like, it's not just they have the skills. He's like, there's not they also work harder than anyone else on top of that. And I used to think the opposite. Like, I would look at Kobe Bryant, I'd be like, he was just born with all the skill. And he did. Yeah, he had skill, but he worked freaking insane, like insanely. When he was already the champion, he was still, players would talk about him showing up like 3 hours before games and like doing the same shot like 500 times, like, from other teams. Have you watched any of those stories of them talking about? It's crazy. It makes you whether or not you're a fan of, like, or against his, it makes you respect him and his work ethic at a whole other level. So what's your, go ahead.
No, I've got nothing left, man.
I got to get ready to hop off, but is there any books from everything you've been reading that you can recommend as far as leadership? I'm always, all the listeners love to hear that.
We just finished one that is probably my all-time favorite. That was the Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Oh, yes.
It's fantastic. It really is. It's if you don't like, he writes exactly like he talks. So
I love it, though.
He's definitely dropping F-bombs here and there, but if you don't like that, I wouldn't pick it up. But
I would recommend you should still get past the F-bombs, and I'd rather him drop the F-bombs and give us the real content that he's giving than be totally censored and hold, because get past that and listen to his message. Dude, the stuff that guy overcame. Actually, that's a perfect book to read right now, Corey, as everyone's going through this stuff right now. That makes me want to listen to that again and reread it as we're battling through the trenches in this coronavirus thing and all the stuff. David Goggins' book, that will give you the hope. Like, dude, he got through that. We have no excuse not to get through this. God, that guy.
He's all about putting it on his own shoulders and muscling through it. And the whole book's fantastic. It's a game changer for sure.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, man, and I appreciate you letting me share share all this with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to email you too. I've got a list of stuff that you got to keep me accountable for. So it's on its way, buddy.
And we'll follow up too. And it doesn't have to be broadcasted to everyone too. I'll follow up with you about other stuff, like
That's
blood
awesome,
that's
man.
leaking out of your closet and what's going on with that murdered wife of yours.
I gotta go. It's getting pretty sloppy back there.
I'm charging for alibis now. Like, things are getting rough, man.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate
I have an
it.
alibi fee. All right. See you later, man.
Yeah, stay safe, bud.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Thank you to Corey Kraft, my good man, for jumping on here. Listen, everyone, we were just having a conversation, and I think that's the first time ever on the show I've had someone. I have known Corey. You've heard my jail story, all the stuff I went through. I've known him since we lived by each other, since I was in like 7th, 8th grade. Got in trouble together, had a lot of the same friends, but both continued to get out of all that in different ways too. So it's awesome to reconnect with him. And thank you, Chanel, for jumping on. So many good takeaways from this. Listen, everyone, just keep the faith. Listen to stories behind the story, like David Goggins, like Corey just recommended. David, my man, Goggins, I want to get you on this show, Elevating Beyond. I need to get you live in studio, though, when this crap passes by. But if not, hey, we'll hop on a Zoom. But check it. I can't remember the name of his book. Darn it. Just you look up David Goggins. You'll see it. It's exactly what you need through these times, and to remind us, listen, we're resilient. Remember that. And I have it hung up here from my man Tim. He gave it to me from the Air Force. I said, although it's my go-to verse, 2 Timothy 1:7. I remember this: for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. And I repeat this to myself when I'm doubting, like, it's not me. I have been given a spirit of power. I am freaking powerful. My confidence comes from God. Through Christ, I can do all things. And that's what keeps me going and knowing, yeah, as a human being, I can't do it. Through Christ, I can do all things. We can get through this. We will get through this. This is not the new normal. This is a temporary season, and we're being pruned. And in order to blossom, you have to go through a season of pruning. And the plant that's being pruned, it doesn't understand what's going on. It hurts. It's like, why are these things cutting at me? I'm growing. And little does it know, for the branch that it cuts off, 2 or 3 blossom out. And I absolutely have no doubt that through this adversity, on the other side of this, we will elevate and grow amazingly. So listen, everyone, never settle, never give up, and keep elevating. My voice is cracking there. Never settle. Let's do that again. Never settle, never give up, and keep elevating beyond.